The monster was growling menacingly, forcing Wang Yuan and Yu Zhaowan into a corner. At this moment, neither of them had any chance of defeating the monster. The ground beneath their feet began to crack under the pressure and killing intent radiating from the high-level creature. Out of fear, Yu Zhaowan kept stepping back, and that was exactly what led to disaster. Yu Zhaowan twisted her ankle due to the uneven ground. Under normal circumstances, this injury wouldn't be a big deal. But right now was a life-or-death situation. Being unable to move was no different from a death sentence. Wang Yuan could only shout his girlfriend's name in utter helplessness. He hurried over to support Yu Zhaowan, but she told him to leave her behind and escape immediately. But the monster gave them no chance to continue talking or decide what to do. It launched an attack. The massive tail of the croc lion swept through the air, ready to crush everything in its path. With no other choice, Wang Yuan drew his bow and aimed at the monster, shouting what might be the last words of his life. Yu Zhaowan, run, there's something I've always wanted to tell you. The arrow shot forward in despair, while Wang Yuan feared that if he didn't say it now, he would never get another chance. A person's greatest regret is not failure, but not saying what needed to be said before everything ends. No miracle occurred. The arrow only produced a tiny spark before bouncing back upon hitting the monster's steel-like scales. At that moment, Yu Zhaowan hugged Wang Yuan from behind, stopping him from saying anything further. She already understood everything he wanted to say. It was a tearful farewell scene. Wang Yuan panicked and asked what Yu Zhaowan was trying to do. He still wanted her to escape, promising to buy her time. But Yu Zhaowan knew that in their current condition, escape was impossible. She decided that they would die together. Watching the two lovebirds acting out their emotional drama, Chuan couldn't stand it anymore. He appeared in front of them and told them to cut the melodrama because it was so ridiculous and laughable that even he couldn't keep watching. The skill Golden Bell Shield was activated. A wall of golden light appeared, blocking the monster's attack. This defensive ability didn't just save their lives, it also proved the difference between a true hunter and a pair of rookies. The system notified that the protective shield had expired and would take 12 hours to recharge. Wang Yuan stared blankly at the back of his savior and stammered, asking if Chuan was okay. Chuan glanced back with an indifferent expression. To him, the question was completely unnecessary, like saying, "Are you stupid? Are you blind? Can't you see I'm standing here perfectly fine?" Having its attack blocked, the croc lion roared furiously, baring its sharp, menacing fangs. The monster gathered momentum, preparing for an even more powerful pounce. Chuan calmly touched his spatial bracelet, ready to take out his gear and finish the fight. He felt fortunate that he still had something quite useful. In an instant, a massive spiked club, crude and reeking of brutality, appeared in Chuan's hand. Does this weapon look familiar? Just as you might think. It was the spiked club that belonged to the giant troll. True strength doesn't need a flashy appearance. Sometimes, a weapon that's heavy enough is all it takes to shatter the usual rules. The only issue was that this spiked club felt much lighter than his butcher's knife, making Chuan slightly uncomfortable using it. The system interface appeared, confirming it as a mid-tier spirit weapon, the Pigslayer Club, with an extremely overpowered bonus attribute, plus 0.2 free stat points after each kill. Wang Yuan thanked Chuan for saving them, but also nervously warned that someone with a non-combat profession like Chuan facing a high-level monster head-on was far too dangerous. Wang Yuan suggested they avoid direct confrontation and leave the area instead. Ignoring all warnings, Chuan leapt high into the air, swinging the massive club and tearing through the air as he aimed straight at the charging monster. He shouted loudly, as if to cast off all the prejudice that had clung to him for so long, "Never underestimate my profession." The blow came crashing down onto the monster's head, sending blood spraying everywhere as even its hardened scales shattered under the terrifying force. Chuan followed up relentlessly, each strike making the monster scream in agony. This was the most powerful answer to all the contempt and societal prejudice he had faced. Watching the monster being beaten like a punching bag, Wang Yuan and Yu Zhaowan were so shocked they couldn't say a word. They couldn't believe their eyes at the overwhelming strength of the butcher they had once looked down on. Looking closely at his cold expression, Yu Zhaowan suddenly realized something. She wondered if he might be the recent National College Entrance Exam champion. Severely injured, the monster began to cry out in pain, tears streaming down as it showed signs of trying to escape. It let out a shrill cry and charged toward the lake in fear. Wang Yuan snapped back to his senses and shouted, they couldn't let the monster escape now. After everything that had happened, he realized this was the perfect opportunity to finish it off. Wang Yuan immediately grabbed his bow and rushed toward the monster, while Yu Zhaowan cast the skill Radiant Moon Blessing on him. Wang Yuan's entire body glowed with a brilliant green spiritual energy as he prepared for the finishing blow. An arrow infused with powerful light shot forward, tearing through the air. The arrow pierced straight into the monster's head, completely extinguishing the last of its life. Chuan was slightly surprised and silently praised the young man's archery. It wasn't bad at all. He leapt up next to the monster and casually remarked that the arrow had saved him some time skinning it. Yu Zhaowan trembled as she asked again to confirm, was he really Chuan, the butcher who had taken first place in the National College Entrance Exam? Chuan turned back, a bit surprised. So you've heard of me too? Yu Zhaowan explained that yesterday's match had been broadcast nationwide, and Chuan's name was now all over the media headlines. Chuan sighed and scratched his head. This unexpected fame only brought him annoyance rather than pride. In a world full of danger, too much attention could become an unpredictable burden for someone pragmatic like him. Wang Yuan quickly bowed, sincerely thanking Chuan for saving their lives. He expressed deep remorse, admitting that he had been too arrogant before and had failed to recognize Chuan's strength. He hoped for forgiveness and swore that from this day on, Chuan would be his greatest benefactor. They would do anything to repay him. Chuan stared at the massive monster's corpse and calmly cut him off. He didn't care much about oaths. What mattered to him right now was whether the two of them intended to compete with him for the spoils. Wang Yuan shouted to prove his sincerity, saying that not only the corpse, even his life, could be taken by Chuan at any time. To him, Yu Zhaowan was the most important person, and saving her was a debt beyond repayment. Yu Zhaowan looked at Wang Yuan with emotion, softly scolding him not to do something so foolish again. Wang Yuan smiled gently in return, promising that he would never abandon her under any circumstances. Standing there watching this overly sentimental scene, Chuan could only lower his head and sigh in exasperation, thinking that if he had known it would turn out like this, he wouldn't have bothered saving them. Chuan raised his hand and activated his spatial bracelet. A blue light radiated from the device, preparing to collect the item. A stream of energy enveloped the monster's corpse, quickly pulling the entire massive body into the storage space. The system notified. A high-level monster corpse had been successfully collected. Chuan felt satisfied, thinking that this bracelet was incredibly convenient for someone in the butcher line of work. Just as the monster's corpse disappeared, a violent rumbling sound echoed from deep within the cave, startling everyone. An ancient stone gate slowly began to open, revealing the mysteries hidden behind layers of time. Chuan narrowed his eyes at the newly revealed space. A strange red light radiated from within, carrying a heavy spiritual pressure. The greatest secrets are often hidden right after a gatekeeper falls, and this was when the real challenge truly began. The massive gate swung fully open, revealing a path leading deep into the mountain, filled with danger and mystery. The three of them stood there, small and insignificant before the grandeur and deadly aura of this ancient structure. Chuan calmly observed, while the couple behind him was still in shock from the sudden change in the environment. A cold wind blew out from within, carrying the scent of danger. Wang Yuan and Yu Zhaowan exclaimed in unison, "Could this be a secret realm?" A question that marked the beginning of a perilous journey, one filled with unimaginable rewards. A secret realm was a graveyard for the greedy, but also a paradise for those crazy enough to step inside. Thank you all for supporting my video. I wish you endless happiness and joy in life. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a like and leave a comment to show your support. I sincerely appreciate it.